Heroes, we are back with an interview today. I've got the world's #1 expert on a really interesting, new and exciting way to get more out of the Amazon platform and build additional income streams for you and for your business. This guy is an amazing guest. I'm going to bring him in right now. So let's get the party started. Chris, how are you doing, sir? Are you well?
I'm doing really well. How about you?
Doing great. I love the of your hat. It really reminds me of an Irish connection. So I think straight away we're gonna hit it off fantastically well.
It's funny every time I wear this hat, people think that it's like, oh, is that your company or your brand? I'm like, God, I wish, but it's my last name's Luck, and I love this company called Black Clover, and I actually get paid to talk about them too. So that's something I can talk about today.
Absolutely. So yeah, like, I mean, I brought you on today because, as I mentioned in intro, you have this really interesting and I would say a very unique way of getting more out of the Amazon platform. All of our followers and amazing heroes here, they're selling on Amazon in a number of different ways. So let's talk about this methodology and go as deep as you want to go today on the interview.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, first off, I just have incredible respect for everyone that's just selling on Amazon, because I've been in this game of just building online businesses and making money for my family for the last 23 years exclusively, and I've done just about everything there is. One of probably the biggest businesses I ever built I was on Amazon as a seller myself for a number of years, from 2013 to about 2018, and I was in the supplement space, and it was great. I made a lot of money, but I didn't like all of the moving parts with having an Amazon business. I wasn't a fan of it, everything just being transactional. And rewind 23 years ago, I actually got my start on the internet by reading an article in Entrepreneur Magazine about how you could get paid to talk about brands you love on the internet. And this was like when the internet was kind of getting started, where it was just like blogs and bulletin boards and forums and AOL. And I was still in college and I thought it was pretty cool. So I kind of went down the rabbit hole about trying all these different ways to basically get paid to talk about other brands on the internet that weren't mine, because I didn't have brands at the time. And I tried a bunch of different things, and everything I was trying was working. And I got to the point where I actually got kicked out of college because I stayed in my dorm room and just kind of did all this stuff kind of under the radar. And then where I just quit going to class. And then 23 years later, I'm still doing the same thing. But every once in a while, I'll kind of I see, I'm like a shiny object syndrome guy. I see all these new things that pop up, like for instance, selling on Amazon or doing the Amazon Kindle this or this, that. And I'm like, you know what? I got some extra time because my business pretty much runs on its own now. So I've got time to kind of dabble in other businesses. And out of all these businesses I've dabbled in, especially selling on Amazon is a seller myself. I always just keep coming back to what I've been doing for 23 years, which is actually getting paid to talk about other brands, and more specifically, get paid to talk about other brands on Amazon. And that's kind of where I'm at today. And then I've always been behind the scenes, and I can't stand being on camera. Like, I just realizing like your lighting is incredible. My lighting looks like I'm just like a fireball because I'm terrible at this stuff. And so I don't go talk on stage or anything like that because I'm just super nervous. And but a lot of people, when I do go to events just to kind of hang out at the bar and have my beers and then talk to people, when I tell everyone my story, they're like, oh my God, you need to like, I want to have you on my podcast, or I want to interview you. And I was like, well, I feel like I'm entering a chapter in my life now where I've been doing this for so long, and it's a system that is just so dialed in now. It's like, you know what, I'll come out of my shell a little bit. And then, everyone says whenever you feel like, well, not everyone, but I've heard something where it's like, when you feel like you get really nervous to do something, that's when you should push through, because that's kind of entering into another chapter in life. And that's kind of where I feel like I'm at now. And that's why we're here today, because you caught wind about what I've been doing for so long. And you're like, I want you to come on and like share what you do with everyone that's, that I have for my audience. And like, your audience is the perfect audience for someone that wants to be able to dabble in what I've been doing. So that's why I'm here.
I love it. And again, as I say, like I had to absolutely beg Chris to come on today and do an interview, because as he said, this is not something he does very often. But what you do phenomenally well, as I have seen, I can tell everybody today, is you train people phenomenally well. You don't have to have your camera on for that, and you're focused on what you do. And we're going to get to that in a little while, in just a few minutes. Just to talk about this, so the concept I really love is this idea of like you get paid to talk about brands online. And so obviously Amazon's a big part of that. And so to someone watching today who's a seller, or maybe they've no business just yet, they're just like thinking about getting into business, they're involved with us in one way or another. Tell us about, what does it involve exactly? Is it something like you mentioned, like you don't have to be on camera or anything like that? So what is the method we can use? What's the connection between talking about this and Amazon, just so people can understand what that looks like?
Sure. Okay, so there's actually like 17 different ways that I've kind of put together over the years to get paid to talk about brands specifically on Amazon. Out of the 17 ways, just to throw it out there, there's like Google, Facebook, TikTok, Snapchat, SMS, newsjacking, just all this different stuff that you can do. And the one strategy that is by far just crushes everything else, and it's the one that I actually always start off with, and everyone that I kind of help along the way, I kind of teach to start off with. And okay, this is going to sound super simple, and it is super simple, but most people, the simple stuff works usually all the time. So imagine, for instance, like, let's say, I don't know, I'm trying to look on your bookshelf, see if there's anything that's like a knick-knack but I can't use anything off your bookshelf for an example. Let's use my headphones. So imagine, like, I want to, I'm interested, let's say I'm a consumer interested in buying new over the ear Bluetooth headphones. Okay. So as a consumer, what consumers do, I mean, you have the impulse shoppers. They'll just go to Amazon, type in over the ear Bluetooth headphones, look at the thing with the most reviews, and then they just impulse buy. But most of the world doesn't do that. Most of the world, I mean, they don't have just expendable income. So they spend a lot of time researching, and especially when you're buying something that's hundreds of dollars or more. So what I teach, and what I've been doing for 23 years, is I show how to identify products that people are going to Google and typing in search queries like best over the ear Bluetooth headphones. And then, so they're not talking about a specific brand like Apple. They're just typing in best, because they're in a buying state of mind. I use the term buyer intent. So they're not poking around, like they're not on Facebook just scrolling through the newsfeed and see an ad and they're like, oh, these look cool, I'm going to go buy these $600 headphones. Like, they go to Google, type in best over the ear headphones, and then I have some pretty cool, like, trickery ways to be at the top of Google organically, where you don't have to, you could kind of skip to the front of the line and spend money on ads where you just show up in the number one spot. And then you basically have an article on your website. And if you already have a website, you basically can just create independent pages on your website. If you want, you can build a completely, entirely new blog from scratch. And there's blogs out there just to kind of give everyone a peace of mind on like how big this business can go. I know people that are, they starting from like nothing, not knowing anything about this industry. Within the first 14 days, they can already be upwards to making like over $1,000 a day, going after their very specific keywords, where there is very high like buyer intent searches, but then there's low competition, and they just come in and just clean up. But then there's also companies out there, well, not companies, that like individuals out there that have these, I'll use the term blog. They'll have a blog where all it is they're reviewing like lists, like top 5 this, top 7 this. There's one blog specifically that has been like it's been on my radar to like, it's the blog I'm trying to go after and like crush it's my competition, and I'm trying to crush them. And they just sold, all they do is they review these top 5 this, top 5 that. They could review anything from headphones to fishing lures to, like a sheepskin rugs, like all kinds of stuff. And all they do is they have like top 5 articles. They send all their traffic to Amazon, and they just sold for $160 million to a media company because of the traffic that they're getting organically from Google. So out of the 17 ways to be able to get traffic doing this and actually making money, getting paid to talk about brands that you love, obviously Google is the best one, because you want to go in front of where people are already in the buying state of mind. They're ready to buy. They're just looking for the best of something. And then you just got to be there to offer them like, here's the top 5 over the ear Bluetooth headphones. And then they click to go to Amazon to buy something, and then you get a commission. But what most people don't realize, and you can cut me off if I'm like sharing too much, because I just love this because I've been doing it for so long.
Get down there and everybody, and like this video, and then Chris will consider, even though he can't see because we're recording this, but he'll consider doing more with us. No, I'm joking. Get down and like the video. We love it.
Yeah, thank you. And so whenever someone would go to Amazon or go to my, let's say one of my articles, click to, because they're curious about like, what are these headphones? Because I say they're the best of the best. So then you put like a little button that you don't say the price. You don't say go buy on Amazon. You actually have a button that says check price on Amazon. So in their mind, they're in the buying state already to buy a product. Then they know that the product's on Amazon. So then you have that instant like affinity with Amazon where it's like people know, like, and trust. They got their credit. Most people have credit cards on file because like 220 million users right now have their credit card on file with Amazon Prime. And so you create this article, they click to check the price on Amazon. And what most people don't know is not only do you get a commission on if they buy that product, but you get a commission on anything they buy on Amazon the next 24 hours. And it doesn't even have to be your product. So the product you sent them to Amazon to buy, they don't even have to buy it. They could buy some like maxi dress and some sunglasses and a beach towel, and you're going to get, commission on that. And the commission is not as high as like, of course, like some other places you could go. If you could do direct deals with brands, you obviously can get a higher commission. But the reason why, if you do direct deals or you go to places like ClickBank or something and promote digital products, the reason those people pay such a high commission is because people are not in a buying state of mind to buy those products. You have to like hard sell them to want to buy this thing that they weren't expecting to buy. Whereas Amazon, the commissions are lower, but it's a volume game. And you're going after, you write these articles that will essentially, I look at it like planting seeds in a garden. So every article you write, imagine it's like a seed you're going to plant in a garden. That seed's going to grow into a tree that's going to produce predictable passive income for years if you talk about products that are going to stand the test of time. So that's my whole strategy, like in a nutshell. And I could talk for an entire day about this. So I'll just.
And we will, by the way, just to let you know, down in the description as well, there is a link, because coming up really soon, I don't want to put in the date just in case it messes up our dates in the future, but coming really soon, we have something called Hero Summit 22. We're bringing Chris on, and he's going to come on for basically half a day. It's a summit. It's not one of these, hypey, weird webinar things, right? It's an actual educational experience. I'm going to be there for the whole time. Chris tells me it could go on for a little while, but I'm going to be there the whole way through. We're going to teach this strategy in much more detail, but don't worry, I've got more to ask Chris today. So jump into the description right now, get it in a new tab, and get registered, because this is going to be unbelievable. But anyway, what I want to say as well on this, Chris, is that I really like it. I love it, in fact. And I'll say that the thing I really like about it is you're building a real asset in the site that you're creating. Obviously, that's only one of the different ways you're going to talk about that someone can take this strategy and implement it. But I like it because it's an asset, and because as you create more articles, obviously you get that flywheel effect and starts to spin faster and faster, because you're bringing in and attracting more people from more places. But what I also love, and I say this all the time to our marketplace heroes, is the fact that with Amazon, like, the traffic is there, right? And basically what we do is we have a product on there, or if it's a wholesale product, and someone's already looking for an item like that, or they're looking for the specific brand, if it's a wholesale product. So they're looking for it. It's not like we had to go out and shout about it. Whereas with this methodology, what's cool about it is you're creating all these little pipelines for things that people are already searching for. So anything we're doing here, it's not like you're just coming up with it out of thin air. We're looking at things, I'm sure, that are trending, that are coming in. Even, I'm sure, and I want to talk to you about this, are you ever looking at a situation where you're looking at almost like very niche kind of keywords that maybe not that many people are going after, niche types of items as well, that type of thing? Is that part of the strategy?
Yeah, it's that's a big part of the strategy. So there's two different ways you can go about doing this. Let's say we just moving forward on this interview, we only talk about just the Google, it being one of the 17 strategies to get traffic to your to make money with this whole concept. So we'll just stay on Google for now. Sure. So with knowing that, so go back to think of when you're writing articles, you're planting seeds. So some seeds you plant are going to grow really fast and produce some income very quickly. Those are the seeds that are essentially going to be the trending things, the things that are, especially for those of you that might are into selling on Amazon, tools like Jungle Scout and other things where you can actually see the products that are trending, and the products are coming out of nowhere. And you can actually look at, like, TikTok is a good trick where you can actually look up the TikTok made me buy it videos and then find the products that are on fire right now, because, and then what people like, for instance, like a portable blender is a big one. So you could actually go use a tool and see like, okay, what's the search volume in the trend line, look for portable blenders on Google. And when you see that it's just, just like, going up, then that's a seed that's going to grow into produce some money pretty quickly, but you don't know how long that trend's going to be around.
Yes.
Then you've got the other side of things, the seeds that are going to grow a little slower, but this is the where it's going to just produce income for years and years and years until you shut down your site, is going to be like dish towels. Like what's the best microfiber dish towel? Something that it's not this big massive TikTok trend, but it's something people are going to buy. Or what's the best car polish for black cars? It's like stuff like that. And then,
Yes.
and then I recommend too, when people build these blogs, there's three different levels of scalability you can do with this. You could go on a small scale. So for instance, let's say you're someone that likes makeup, not you specifically or me. I always use makeup because I feel like people can understand there's a lot of makeup products out there. So you could actually have an entire blog just about makeup. But if you do that, you're going to hit a glass ceiling where you're eventually going to run out of makeup products to talk about.
Yes.
That would be a small industry. You can get up to about $10,000 a month just talking about one specific niche. Then there's the medium level, which is like level 2. And this is where you would go a little broader. And this could get you up to about 100,000 a month, which you, instead of doing a makeup blog, you would do a beauty blog. Because then you could talk about makeup, and you could talk about skincare, and you could talk about, hair products, all kinds of stuff.
All sorts.
And then there's the third level, which this is the level that I like to go into. And this is the level I recommend everybody go into if you're just getting started, because why not, is it opens it up to where the company that's my competition, where you mentioned the summit, I actually reveal what my competitor is on the summit and reveal all their numbers. And because I'm just like, I've completely reverse engineered everything they're doing, and I'm on track to, destroy them. So I like to go live on a summit and say, hey, here's my competitor, and then here's what they're doing, and here's what I'm doing to beat them. And so everyone can get a visual of it. So the third level would be doing something really broad. So for instance, Steven, you could have a site that says like stevensreviews.com or stevenslist.com or stevensratings.com or stevielikes.com, like something kind of fun. And then you could start by just having a category where you could talk about the products you personally love. So for instance, I love supplements. So I like to I create, sorry, I hit my microphone. So yeah, I'm getting excited. So you could actually create a blog where you start with your category that you really like the most. And I'll use makeup as an example. So then you could like talk about makeup until you just run out of makeup things to talk about. And then when you kind of like tapped out your category, you don't have to go create a whole nother business or a whole nother blog again. You would just, create another category on your site, stevielikes.com. And then you could have, okay, now let's talk about gaming. And then you could talk, because let's say you're really into gaming monitors and headphones and all this stuff. And so when you have a blog like that that's general enough, I've learned just through trial and error over, again, 23 years of building businesses, the worst feeling an entrepreneur, for me personally, that I ever have is I spent all this time and all these years building one business, and then I either burn myself out, or I've kind of hit a glass ceiling, or it's not working anymore. And then you got to go start all over again and go build another business all over again. And it's like, oh my God, it feels like you just wasted all this time. Yeah. Where what I like to do, I plan ahead to where you build the one blog that is your one property. And then when I say blog, yeah, you can start doing the Google buyer intent that we're talking about. But then if you want to get into TikTok one day, you could do that. And then it's just, you're driving all this traffic to your blog, almost like a hub and spoke effect.
Yeah. I love that compound effect. Something else I really like about this for everyone watching as well, that I didn't get into yet, but I love, is the fact that you mentioned a lot of other products earlier on that were just random examples, microfiber towels and a couple other things you mentioned, right? What I love here, and you watching today, I hope you pick up on this. So these are a lot of products that we at Marketplace Superheroes wouldn't likely sell, right? Because they're likely too competitive on the Amazon platform for us to start a new product with. If we're going to go, say, private label, maybe, right? We may or may not do them wholesale. Even the portable blender you talked about, we wouldn't likely sell something like that because it's a powered product, right? It's got moving parts, etc. With this methodology, You don't have to worry about that because you're promoting things that are already out there. So you don't have to worry about that. And I really love that. It's like a little hidden benefit of the model, actually, that people may not have picked up on. So I really, really like that as well. And by the way, everybody, just to remind you, we're going to be going into massive detail on this on the Hero Summit. And I think it would make sense, Chris, just to talk about that now, because obviously, by the way, link is down in the description. For you to join this. It's no cost to join whatsoever. Obviously, we're going into some good detail. I think it's a good time to talk about this now because we're going to go for hours teaching this really, really soon. So what are we going to do on the summit?
Yeah, so this is something kind of new to me because again, I've been kind of behind the scenes for more than half my life. So I'm just kind of coming out of my shell. And I've heard, and just by seeing the way people do, summits, they, will get on a summit and it's usually about maybe 2.5 hours max. And then they're like selling a product at the end. And the whole thing with the summit is like building up. They teach you the what this whole strategy is and why it's important. But then they save the how to sell you like a $2,000 course. And I hate that. Like, that is not what I do. That's not what I believe in. And if someone's going to commit time with me, I don't like that whole thing. So the way that I do summits is a little unorthodox. First off, I come just straight out and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. So I'm going to teach you like what this whole concept is, which you kind of know a little bit about what it is now, a little already, why it's important. I'll go into like the stats, why you need to really focus on Amazon to start, and then use a lot of case studies and examples of like my past students and stories and all that stuff. And then I'm not going to save the how and sell you a $2,000 course. I'm actually going to go right into teaching you by sharing my screen. And then I'm just going to go like right to my browser and I'm just going to teach you live, and it will go on for hours. So I'll teach you the how on the summit as well. And the thing is like these summits, some people are like, how long is it going to be? And so for me, I don't know if you've ever seen or heard about Tony Robbins and how long he will speak for.
I've been there.
So he will go on for like 12, 14 hours straight without going to the bathroom or anything, and he won't stop talking. And I was like, there's no way this guy's a human being. Like there's no possible way, but it's because he loves and he's so passionate about what he does. And when I did my first summit, which is just very recently, teaching this kind of strategy, it went on for 7 hours because I never went to the bathroom. I never felt like I had to. It went all the way 7 hours because I lost my voice. And because it's just, I'm so passionate about this, and there's so many things that I can teach. And I don't want to just kind of hold back and just try to sell a course at the end. I just want to teach it all up front. I'm a huge fan of live Q&A. So I'll stick around. The summit will go on as long as like everyone has a question. When all questions are answered or I lose my voice, that's when the summit kind of wraps up. And then on the summit itself, when I teach you the what, the why, and the how, most people are thinking, well, okay, if you're not, what are you going to sell? What are you going to sell? There's got to be something that's for sale. And again, I didn't even talk to you about this ahead of time, but again, I like to be totally transparent and just let everyone's guard down, know like what this whole thing's about. So the summit is, I'll teach you everything. Again, what people would normally charge in a $2,000 course, I'll teach in the summit, and I'll do live Q&A until every question's answered. I'll show you live examples and all that. I'll even get into some really cool, like sneaky spy tools and stuff I use that everyone can use for free, to actually identify before you talk about products, like to find out if there is I have like a very sweet, like, imagine like, it's like, I'm trying to figure out what part of okay, I'm over here.
Oh no.
Here. Okay. Over here is would be like the very low hanging fruit. And over here is the hyper competition stuff. Well, there's a sweet spot in the middle that I show you software and how to identify that when you don't want to go past the middle where it gets too competitive, because you're going to spend all this time writing articles about products you might know, like, and trust, or products that you love that you think everyone is going to love as well, which they do. But if it's too competitive, all the way down to, again, it's down to like an algorithm I've got that I'll share with everybody. If you go past that, you'll never be seen by Google because it's just too competitive. Kind of like what you were saying about Amazon and creating products. You don't go into like the bloody waters. And there's actually a book I love called it's actually
Blue Ocean Strategy.
Yeah, it's right there. So it's the Blue Ocean Strategy. All my my whole business model is based around it, about taking ideas from certain industries and bringing it into yours. I teach all this kind of stuff on the summit. And then I will, even for everyone that shows up live, I'll even do just some call outs and be like, okay, someone throw out an industry that you actually would like to do this with and get paid to talk about brands in. And someone will be like, I like VR. I'm like, okay, VR, love it. And I won't know anything about this yet. And then I pull up my tool and I show you like how to go from idea all the way to evaluate what VR products would be perfect to talk about. It's almost like having a crystal ball. You'll see like the search volume, you'll see the keyword difficulty, the competitive landscape. And this is ranking organically, by the way. This is not like you can cheat and just pay to be at the top, but yeah, I don't teach that on the summit. That's an advanced strategy that I teach later. But so I'll show you all of to going with the idea, then going to decide what products you're going to talk about, like what 5 VR headset products, how do you pick those products? Then I'll even show you, if you don't like to write, because a lot of people have this misconception where it's like, oh, this won't work for me because I'm a terrible writer. Well, I'm a terrible writer. I cannot write a complete sentence. I was always terrible in English and grammar, and I use like exclamation points on every sentence because I'm excited all the time. And it's like, so I cannot write articles. So I actually show you the AI. There's AI software, so artificial intelligence software I use to write all my articles for me. And you don't have to use it, but I'm just a big fan of just like saving time and pretty much using as many tools as I can to like just do all my work for me. So I'll share all of that on the summit. And then the only offer that I have, or the ask, or the whole reason I even do the summit, is not just to just spill everything I know to the world for free, which I love to do because I feel good and happy when everyone in the chat's like, I always ask like, hey, give us a rating on like a 1 to 10 scale. And it's like 1,000, 15. It's like that. I feel like I changed a lot of lives, and that's why I like doing the summit. But at the very end, the only offer is I have a very private and exclusive community that I built for people that do this every day, including myself, because doing this for 23 years, it's a very isolating world. And even though we're in an amazing time right now with technology, where we are like the most connected human beings than we've ever been in our life, but we're also the most isolated than we've ever been, because we're connected, but we're to technology, but you feel isolated as an actual human. 100%. So, and when you're in this industry and you're making more money than you know what to do with, and you can't turn it off because it's all passive that just comes in because of Google, and your articles being there, it's a very, very lonely world, because you then don't really have to work anymore. So then you have your whole day to do whatever you want to do with your day. But it's like, what do? You can only golf so much. You can only go fishing so many times. You can only, take your family on so many vacations, and you just run out of stuff to do. So I was like, me personally, I wanted to build this little community it's not a Facebook group. It's like my own little world. We have our little moat, on the internet that not a lot of people know about. And it's all people that do this kind of stuff every single day. So we can always share what's working. We can talk about what's trending. We're helping each other out. We're always celebrating everybody's wins. We're going to start doing live meetups. So that's kind of the whole thing, is like, I teach everything on the summit. At the very end, you have everything to go off and go do it yourself. And I hope that you do. And then if you ever want to join this community, that's kind of what I've got. So I just like to put everybody at ease when they go into these things, so they're not wondering like, what's the catch? Because 100%. The only catch is you can either do it by yourself or you can do it with like a community of people. So anyway, sorry if I shared too much.
No, I love that, Chris. And again, from my perspective, the reason I'm bringing you in is because I 100% believe in what you've got. We're doing it. I'm learning a ton from you guys. We've got 2 of our team members actually going and executing and building different sites and stuff like that, following the methodology that you're sharing. So, we're executing on it because we really love it. And we're excited to build additional assets in our own business as well. Also, a couple of other things I wanted to just mention before we wrap up today's video. One of them is that, the strategies you're going to learn here, a lot of times our community say, I'd actually love to talk about marketplace superheroes a bit more and share that message. And so, that is going to be something you're going to be able to learn how to do if you want to do that as well. And obviously, Chris is the man to talk about that. And so what I'm trying to point out to you is not that you should go and promote us, right? I'm just saying you can promote pretty much anything that you want to, because every business online, including Amazon, including other brands that you love, they are in a position where, you know, there's massive power and a lot of people talking positively about what they do. So this is a skill that's going to be around for the foreseeable future. I mean, I've seen the summit, previous summit, and there's some amazing stats shared about this type of stuff. You're going to see all of that and so much more. So I can't endorse enough. I'm going to be there the whole time, taking notes myself. I'm bringing on my team as well to sit and listen. So, you know, I'm 100% behind it. Chris is an awesome guy. We have lots of mutual contacts, so we all know each other. And, you know, he's one of the real deals in the industry. So for me, just get down below, register right now for the summit. It's going to be fantastic. And Chris, I'm going to give you the final wrap up word today to encourage people to come along. And then we're going to finish up today's interview.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Really, I mean, if you've got nothing going on, or if you can move some things around for the day of the summit, if anything, just show up, because it's going to be, again, it could go on for a half day, it could go on for a full day. I could maybe go on for 14 hours. I don't know. But if anything, you know, just show up and just at least listen in, because with it being like totally kind of just, I position to be like a $2,000 program in and of itself, where I share so much stuff. And even if once you kind of make it through what I'm teaching, just sticking around and listening to like all the questions that people are asking, and then how I answer them. I just so you know, I over the last few summits that I did, I looked at like the average number of questions that I answer on a summit. It's like 270 questions live. And these aren't just like yes or no questions. These are like, hey, what do you think of this, Chris? Or hey, Chris, what do you think of this kind of product? And then I've got my browser shared, and then I do a lot of examples. And if anyone that wants to think about maybe using this to promote their own products, I just only talked about getting paid to talk about brands that you love, but you can do this to get paid to talk about anything, digital products, other courses. You can your own products on Amazon. There's cool kind of tricks to that. So if anything, just show up. It's going to be a lot of fun. The energy is always super high. I like the engagement to be really high, because I want everyone to just feel that community, just fire that goes on. And it's just so much fun. So I just recommend showing up just to see it, because I guarantee it's not an education that you're going to get. It's like an experience. And I guarantee it's going to be unlike any other experience that you've ever seen, because I'm not really here to like inform you about anything. I'm here to transform you off of the things that I have been doing for the last 2 decades now. And it's just so much fun. So that's really all I got. And I look forward to seeing everybody there.
Awesome. Well, look, with that said, everybody, jump down below. Do give this video a like as well. You got value. And also make sure that you click that link in the description. Get yourself registered for the summit. It's going to be great. We're going to be giving away a ton of prizes as well, Amazon vouchers, everything. It's going to be unreal. We're going to give away over $1,000 in prizes, so it's going to be huge. So with that said, thank you so much, Chris, for coming today. I really appreciate your time. That's the most valuable thing you can give me in the community. So thank you, and feel free to say thanks to Chris down below in the comments as well. I know he'd appreciate that. So we will see you on the online summit. Cannot wait for it. Thank you so much, and Chris, I can't wait to see you on the summit as well, my friend. Cheers.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.